Maldonado. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this sit and reach test, or also known as a Canadian test. We're going to have our client, she's going to be warming up about 5 minutes in moderate intensity, and you also want to make sure that they have workout clothes and no shoes on. The test that we're going to be doing is we're going to be measuring how flexible your hamstring is. Okay, we're going to have our client sit down. It's up to you. We're going to make sure that, of course, she has no shoes on. Her feet are flatly placed against the board. Her knees are going to be pressed down against the floor. We're going to keep her hands placed either on top of each other or parallel, whatever they feel more comfortable. Okay, as they push this little button, they're going to be exhaling. Make sure that once they push it, they hold about 2 seconds. One other thing is make sure that when they leave, they're not pushing with one hand only, they're doing it with both hands. Another thing is that this box is measured in 23 centimeters, and in the book, when you're going to use a formula, it says 26 centimeters. So make sure that you're going to be subtracting 3 centimeters from the formula. You take their recording, and then we're going to do this test one more time just to get the better score. Okay, so this test we're going to do is called the V-Sit and Reach test, or it's also called the YMCA test. What we're going to be using is a yardstick. We're going to place a 10 to 12 inches of tape over it so it won't move over the 15-inch mark. And we're going to use a ruler to go ahead and measure that. Okay? Here you're going to have your client put their heels on both sides of the tape. Okay, so just make sure that their hands are on top of each other, and they're going to be sliding their hands throughout the yardstick to get their measurement more accurate. Okay? Just remember that as they're going down, they're going to be exhaling. To have your client, whenever they're going down, they're not going to be bouncing. They're going to be sliding to the point where they can't no more. Hold it for 2 seconds, and then we're going to do this test one more time to get the better result. Okay. This next test that we're going to be doing is called the leg raise test. We're going to be, again, measuring their hip extensors. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to do one leg at a time. We're going to use your goniometer. Okay, we're going to go ahead and place it at the hip flexor, and we're going to raise her leg, make sure that she's relaxed, and if she raises her other leg, make sure to keep it down. You can either have an assistant or do it yourself. Okay, so your client is going to tell you up to where it's okay to push her. We're going to be doing the other leg. Remember to have them be relaxed. Okay? And she's going to tell you up to where. There. Okay. So here, the ranges that you want to tell your client is that if they are less than 80, they're an unacceptable range. If they're about 80, they're acceptable, and you want to try to get their client to be to 90 degrees because that's the ideal range. This next test that we're going to be doing is called the sit and reach test. This test is to assess the older generations, which is 60 years and older. Okay, we're going to need a chair that's about 17 inches high, and we're going to use a ruler to go ahead and measure. We're also going to make sure that the chair is against the wall just so that it won't tip over, because we're going to ask our client to sit on the edge of the chair. Okay? Come on. Here we're going to ask him to go ahead and keep this leg bent. We're going to extend this leg, keep the foot dorsiflexed. We're going to keep one hand on top of the other, and he's going to try to reach up to his toe, and if he can go further, that would be better. So with the ruler, we're going to go ahead and measure from the toe up to the finger, which is right here, 7 inches. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do his other foot. Make sure that his leg is extended, his foot is dorsiflexed, okay? And he also exhales when coming down. Okay, that was about 5 inches. Okay, just a reminder to make sure that your client holds it for 2 seconds. And another thing is that if they're unable, we're going to do an example. If they're unable to reach up to their toe, we're going to measure it, but the measurement is going to be negative. So the number we get here is going to be -7. I just want to remind you guys that for all of the exercises that we were doing today, we're measuring the hamstring stretch, okay, to see their flexibility. It also targets their lower back, but we're mostly focusing on their hamstring flexibility. Another thing is that for all 4 exercises, which is going to be the sit and reach test, or also known as a Canadian test, the YMCA test or the V-sit test, and the chair test for older population, and or the leg raise test. Okay, you want your client to warm up 5 minutes about moderate intensity so that they're able to be flexible enough.
When you see that girl coming